Really, you bought to attain out? He stated, "No, Mr. Roberts, who were given no alcoholic. Your daughter died of a damaged neck and a spinal twine. What did you do then? Did you name the investigators? Did you attain out to the police? What did you do whilst you bought the facts that it turned into a neck and spinal twine harm and now no longer alcohol? No, they gave me the range. They gave me the range down there to have the rarest investigator." And he stated, "Mr. Robinson, what you telling me? That tale isn't including up." But he stated, "If you want to get it going, Mr. Robinson, you bought to get you the own circle of relatives of Shanquelle Robinson has been going via one of the worst matters that might ever appear to a person, that is the loss of life of a child. But in this situation, the stakes are clearly above normal due to the fact now no longer simple as turned into the younger woman murdered in some other country. However, her homicide turned into a brutal one which has been publicly televised to the global. And it receives even worse, due to the fact that government had to start with light approximately what brought about her loss of life. However, now the key's out, and her father is the only spilling all of it. Now matters have simply been shifting from one huge revelation to the subsequent, and his later one can have your jaws dragging at the floor. So in case you do not need to overlook those info, stick around with me right here as we run by it. The tale of Shanquelle has been fascinating for plenty motives and comes to a decision the story itself of simply how horribly she turned into killed. There's additionally the reality that a few shape of foul play turned into inserted into the tale. This might be one of the many stuff that induced the deceased dad to step up and talk out on a number of the info that were toned down. According to reports, Shanquelle Robinson's father known as for justice to be served to the 6 pals suspected of being the reason of his daughter's devastating passing. The 12 months antique businesswoman from Charlotte, North Carolina, turned into pronounced lifeless for the duration of a journey to Cabo, Mexico, with pals on October 29, 2022. In a case this is now suspected to be foul play. Bernard Robinson, Shanquelle's father, found out to TMZ that he believes the incident turned into a plot concocted through her pals. He shared his suspicions concerning the occasions surrounding Shanquelle's loss of life, declaring that it turned into a deliberate assault in which the son known as pals got here into her room at the same time as his daughter turned into a sleep in her room to conquer her up. He brought that for them to do what they did, it turned into a plot which turned into hatched in Cabo due to the fact they could not do it over right here in which all her pals had been. Shanquelle's father blasted her pals for now no longer coming to her resource as she turned into affected by bodily injuries. He suspects that her attackers left her vinyl with inside the motel room for a housekeeper to find. The grieving father stated that her assaulters must be charged with the existence sentence for his or her actions, declaring they took existence. "Ma'am, they took existence for the authentic tale." Robinson of Charlotte turned into located lifeless on October 29 in a San Jose del Cabo villa after she had traveled there with 6 pals. Reports on Robinson's loss of life to start with stated it turned into resulting from alcohol poisoning. However, a murder research turned into lodged after and post-mortem located she suffered excessive spinal twine harm and atmos fixation and instability of the primary internet vertebrates. Specifically, her pals had to start with pronounced that the businesswoman had died of alcohol poisoning. Her mom Salamander found out that they had been later informed through Mexican government that the post-mortem file did now no longer point out alcohol and that Shanquelle died from bodily assault. However, the own circle of relatives has been declaring that the tale has now no longer brought up because the beginning. And then at the same time as the case turned into a traumatic video went viral on social media that corroborates the theory. The video depicts a girl presupposed to be Jenny Jackson beating up Shanquelle Robinson at the same time as she's bare in a room, at the same time as a person with inside the history may be heard pronouncing at the least combat lower back. Bernard, who insisted that his daughter isn't the combating type, shared that the video turned into tough to observe as a father and positioned a hollow in his heart. The father broke down as he shared that he has been coping with big anger, disappointment, and hurt because the day he heard of his daughter's passing, declaring that it must be her burying me, now no longer me burying her. Later, some other videos surfaced in which Robinson, who had long passed to Cabo to have fun a friend's birthday, turned into visible urging her pals to position on swim, while the others had been all congregated in a room together. However, the 6 pals who travelled with the sufferer Colal Cook, Mallet Dyer, Winter Donovan, Alice Hyatt, Ginny Jackson and Nizia Wiggins all appear to have disappeared from social media because the incident. This curve with inside the records and the info provided has now began out an uproar that wasn't simply at the net alone, but additionally essentially began out a movement. According to reports, an occasion on behalf of Robinson which befell at Charlotte's Little Rock in Zion Church turned into prepare through the Million Youth March of Charlotte and Salisbury Teen Advisory Board, drawing loads of supporters. Robinson's father, Bernard, spoke out for the duration of the occasion, pronouncing after he noticed his daughter's frame with inside the funeral domestic he stood there crying like a baby. I sat there and stated, "Baby, Daddy gets you justice. All I wanted." Just as Bernard reportedly stated, "I simply need the Mexican government, the embassy to do the proper factor, make it proper, due to the fact they got here over there for your soil and did what they did and got here low back right here." The tale of Robinson's loss of life has been beset through confusion. Robinson arrived on the lodge town on October 28 together along with her pals, in step with the information. The subsequent day, her mom, Salamander Robinson, informed QC and her daughter's pals known as to inform her that Shanquelle had all of a sudden passed away. They stated she wasn't feeling well, she had alcohol poisoning. Salamander informed information shops on the time. She brought every one of the human beings that turned into there together along with her turned into telling one-of-a-kind stories. In addition to this, Robinson's loss of life certificates, formerly acquired through Newshound, stated she died from excessive spinal twine harm and atlas subluxation complex, a frightened device disorder resulting from misalignment of the pinnacle cervical vertebrae. Alcohol turned into now no longer indexed on her loss of life certificates, and the viable connection among Robinson's loss of life and the violent combat, which turned into captured on video, turned into unclear. The younger girl's mom informed The Independent that she hasn't heard from any of her daughter's 6 journey partners because the post-mortem file got here out. But upon listening to an arrest warrant were issued with inside the case, Salamander informed ABC News, "I experienced so good. That's an amazing feeling. That's what we had been ready for a person to subsequently be held responsible and arrested. I simply cannot await justice to be served." Specifically, Mexican prosecutors have filed fees towards a suspect with inside the loss of life of Shanquelle Robinson, the 12-month antique American girl who died on at the same time as on holiday with 6 of her pals in Cauca San Lucas, Mexico. Although the government have now no longer publicly named the American girl, they are in search of to extradite, however have showed it as certainly considered one among her pals. However, a main aspect answerable for this new replace with inside the case turned into the involvement of the FBI. That's proper. Nearly a month after Robinson's loss of life, the FBI Charlotte area workplace opened and researchers Mexican prosecutors tried to extradite the suspect. The FBI Charlotte area workplace has opened and research into the loss of life of Charlotte resident Shanquelle. Those 6 pals want to be rounded up and interrogated, then charged with each viable crime applicable. I mean, despite the fact that matters nonetheless appear to be particularly sweet. At least they now have a suspect, and we are able to in all likelihood listen greater approximately the case quite soon. That's it for this video. Goodbye.